What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back doing another preview video for Super Saturday. Going to be an extremely exciting weekend of rugby. We've already done 2 preview videos for the Scotland versus Italy game and the France versus Wales game. So you've got a bunch of content for you to build the hype towards an awesome weekend of rugby. This one's going to be for Ireland versus England, a massive game. It's the Six Nations Triple Crown, Grand Slam. There's a lot on the line, and Ireland are playing at home for it on St. Paddy's weekend. This one has the makings for a really good game of rugby. Of course, we'll be checking out the team sheets announced for both sides, going through the picks, we think some good picks, some bad picks, and of course giving a score prediction. If you enjoy this style of video, make sure to leave the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you drop down your thoughts on the team down in the comment section. Now, last week, Ireland went on to play Scotland and came away with a convincing win by the ending scoreline. The half-time markers certainly looked very, very close, and Ireland suffered a bit of a wounding game in that one. A lot of people going off with injuries. They lost both hookers. Cian Healy had to fill in the scrums at the hooker position. Josh van der Fleer was having to get involved with the line-out, and if you're at the world #1 spot and you want to prove why you're at the world #1 spot, that is a great game to sort of showcase the ability to just have people team up together, fill in positions you're not meant to be playing, do the jobs you're not prepped to do, and still coming away with a very convincing win against a Scotland team that's been playing well at home. All positive for Ireland, but of course those injuries might still be lingering into this week. So checking out the team that has been announced for this game versus England. Now, first thing to point out is obviously Ireland are cheating. Because not only are they the best team in the world at the minute, world #1, they've got the best depth in squad, but they obviously have some sort of wizard in the background who's able to heal people, because there's a couple of people on this list who look like they are maybe out for the rest of the Six Nations, who've miraculously been healed over the course of 4 days. So they've obviously got some sort of dark magic or green magic in the background. So there are a couple of people who have come back. A couple of people, though, still out with those injuries. The likes of Gary Ringrose, what a shame for him, going to be missing this game, and Ian Henderson along the way as well. So starting out in this front row, Andrew Porter and Tadhg Furlong are rejoined by Dan Sheehan. Still comes back into the side after quite a substantial injury. Took him out quite early in that game. And he's the sort of player I would have really liked to have seen spent some more time on the field. We know how good he is with carrying the ball in hand and the speed that he gets to bring from that hooker position. But unfortunately had to go out very early on. But nice to see him back on this team sheet. Tadhg Furlong, who returned after a long period away, just slotted straight back into that Ireland team. Finlay Bealham, of course, has been filling in and been playing extremely well, but Tadhg Furlong comes in, just makes such a big impact into that team, especially at the scrummaging work. I think he's such a good player, so nice to have seen him filled in nicely. In the lock department then, actually getting a start for a change, is Ryan Baird alongside of James Ryan. Now Ryan Baird, of course, coming in, we've missed Tadhg Beirne and Ian Henderson going out of this Ireland squad. So locks beginning to thin out slightly a bit now, but Ryan Baird is still a good player. Again, another speedy player with the ball in hand. So many of these players that, you know, forward positions, you don't expect them to have great speed. Ryan Baird really can get on the ball and get away very quickly. James Ryan has been playing a good tournament so far, got himself over for tries as well, which is nice to see. The line-out situation for Ireland is strong. Even last week, losing their hooker, throwing the ball in at the line-out, they're still maintaining good consistency at being able to win their own line-outs, which is so nice to see. It's a bit of a testament to see how good this line-out has been for Ireland. In the back row, Peter O'Mahony retains in that blind side. Josh van der Fleer is still going to be retaining in 7, and Keelan Doris comes back in the number 8 shirt. So he's actually managed to come back from his injury. I thought he was gone for the tournament. The fact that Jack Conan came on, had a good game, Jack Conan filling in that shirt. I really thought Keelan Doris was gone, so nice to see him back on this pitch, and that back row still looking very strong. And you've got Jack Conan waiting on the bench to come on as well. Big positive for Ireland. In the halfback partnership, Jameson Gibson-Park alongside Johnny Sexton. This is what the halfback partnership they want to keep bringing into these sides. For Australia, it means that Conor Murray sort of put back onto the bench. But Jameson Gibson-Park is so good at just getting that ball out quickly, spreading it out wide, quick recycling, allowing Ireland to get on the front foot. Scotland actually did quite a good job at trying to slow down the Ireland rucking speed in that first half. I think towards the end of the first half as well. I think Scotland rucking speed percentages were actually quicker than Ireland, which is a bit of a testament to how well they were doing. But Jameson Gibson-Park, you know how quickly he wants to get on the ball, and he's always looking for that little sniping run himself. In the centre partnership then, Bundyaki stays on inside centre, and Robbie Robbie Henshaw now starts in the outside centre. Of course, Guy Ringrose having a big collision in that game, getting his head on the wrong side, straight into the hip. So unfortunately, we're having a bit of time out from the green jersey. But Robbie Henshaw, still a very good player, can play inside or outside centre. So he's going to slot in that outside centre pretty nicely. And we've actually seen Bundyaki play alongside Henshaw quite a few times as well. So nice to see. In the back three then, James Lowe, Mac Hansen and Hugo Keenan, all three of them performing at an incredibly high standard. I've seen James Lowe and Mac Hansen have been in a lot of different people's team of the week. Mac Hansen just popping up everywhere, all over the field last week. Fantastic for him. Hugo Keenan still doing very good work in the backfield. He's sort of flip-flopping between whether he's going to be the attacking threat on the ball in games or whether he's just being a massive team player. Last week for him, it was a bit more of the team player. I was sort of watching him all game. He's just involved in every single ruck. He's always just there to act as the extra man when Ireland have the ball. He's either waiting on someone's shoulder to give out the next distribution pass, or he's just waiting in case someone gets tackled early. He gets to fill in, get over the ball, try and secure ruck if the forwards can't get there quickly enough. Fantastic team player. But Ireland bringing a big squad into this, considering how many injuries. I thought we might be losing Dan Sheehan. I thought we might be losing Keelan Doris. A couple of other people picked up knocks along the way, but they have got big players back in. This is a big starting 15 going up against England. In terms of the replacements then, Rob Herring, Cian Healy and Tom O'Toole. How well did Cian Healy do? The fact that this man can just fill in at hooker without seemingly skipping a beat and have a really good game. If only he'd been able to take over the throwing duties as well, he would have just had that entire front row position covered all by himself. Kieran Treadwell and Jack Conan will be the replacement forwards. Nice to see a bit more Treadwell, another player in this Irish team that just struggles to find the game time. There's so many good people ahead of you. It's hard to get the game time in. I'm looking forward to see Treadwell getting onto this pitch for a bit. Jack Conan having a good game last week. Sure will come on in that second half. They tend to, as long as there's no injury status. I imagine he'll sort of come on for Peter O'Mahony and they'll sort of swap Keelan Doris into that 6 shirt at some point. And then the replacement backs, Conor Murray, Ross Byrne and Jimmy O'Brien, a name I feel like I haven't said for a long time in this Irish team. But it's a very good 1 through 23 for Ireland. Like I said, with the Six Nations on the line, the Grand Slam on the line, I can see Ireland absolutely going for this one against England, who last week played France, and it didn't exactly go well for them. I feel like if you're a French subscriber, you probably thoroughly enjoyed that game. As a neutral, you probably really enjoyed that game along with me because it was just an exciting game of rugby. If you're an England subscriber, that probably was quite a hard game to watch. England's third biggest defeat of all time, and France really just sort of looked pretty comfortable doing it for big chunks of that game. There was a lot of talk after that game about whether or should Farrell have started ahead of Marcus Smith. There seems to have been quite a lot of pressure laid at Marcus Smith's feet. I'm not really sure that's very fair. I'm not sure Owen Farrell being on the field compared to Marcus Smith would have made an enormous amount of difference. And in that same beat, Farrell actually came on later in that game, and he was the one that couldn't get the tackle on Roman Ntamack, who offloaded it out to Fiku. We had the crossfield kick, and we saw Damien Pinocchio over his try in that game as well. So I'm not really sure that would have made a massive amount of difference. I think England just came up against a real big test and a France team that fired on all cylinders. So England will try and take away whatever they can do from that game, but it's another tough week on the bounce for them coming up against this Ireland team. So let's take a look at this England team that's been named to face a Grand Slam Ireland team. Starting out in the front row, Ellis Genge, Jamie George and Kyle Sinclair. Now these lads were trying hard against France, but the French forwards last week, man, they just were not letting these guys get away or do anything. I was having a look at the fantasy stats at the end of last week, and I think it was the first time I've ever seen Ellis Genge make less than 10 metres with the ball in hand. He got nothing for metres carrying. France absolutely nailing these lads down, not letting them get momentum, not allowing England to get on the front foot very easily at all. In the lock department, Maro Itoje alongside of David Ribbans. Ollie Chessum unfortunately suffered an ankle injury during training, so has been ruled out for this game. David Ribbans, though, still a good lock to come into this team. It's a bit of a shame for Ollie Chessum, though he has been having a good tournament. It's been nice getting to learn a little bit about his play style, but unfortunately going out with that ankle injury. In the back row, Lewis Ludlam, Jack Willis and Alex Dombrandt. I think this is still the right call. These are the three lads that seem to be getting called up most now. Lewis Ludlam's been one of those lads who's been playing hard, just behind the scenes, doing the hard graft along the way. Alex Dombrandt actually took me by surprise. I had a look at the fantasy after the weekend. Alex Dombrandt's been scoring incredibly high. I think he's one of the ones that might have flown under my radar, but he's been carrying the ball well, trying to get the most gain meters with every single carry, but apparently been doing very well. I think he's gone under my radar a little bit, and Jack Willis, going to be a big game in terms of the breakdown, though. All three of these lads are going to have a very long day against Ireland. We know how good Ireland are in terms of the breakdown and getting over that ball. These lads will have to go all day long just to try and slow down that Irish breakdown. In the halfback partnership this week, Jack Van Poortvliet stays in alongside Owen Farrell coming in. So as I sort of mentioned before, a lot of people talk about Farrell or Marcus Smith. I'm not sure what difference Owen Farrell starting that game would have made to that final result, but gets the opportunity against an Ireland team, a very experienced player coming back in. Big question for me is going to be about his kicking. Of course, the last time we really got to see Owen Farrell have a big game, a lot of those kicks not really going his way against the Wales team. That scoreline could have looked far more detrimental had he been on point with some of those kicks. So hopefully he's doing a bit of training on the training field and just going to start nailing a couple of those 3 points along the way. In the centre partnership, switching up here, Manu Tuilagi goes in on inside centre and Henry Slade on outside centre. Now, Ollie Lawrence did pick up an injury. Again, he's been playing well throughout this tournament, made a big impact by coming in and having a dedicated centre. But Manu Tuilagi coming in, not too many people are going to be complaining about that. He's a very, very hard ball carrier as well. We'll be trying to make the most against a very strong defensive Irish team. But he is one of the few players, if you ever put money on someone to get over the gain line in terms of running with the ball in hand, Manu Tuilagi is your sort of guy. And the style they've been using Ollie Lawrence in is quite well versed for Manu Tuilagi as well. I can imagine him slipping into that position pretty easily. In the back three then, Henry Arundel finally gets a start in this tournament. I have been waiting for this lad to actually have a full game under his belt for a while now. Anthony Watson on the right wing and Freddie Stewart in that fullback shirt. He'll be probably kept quite busy today. We've seen the kicking battles Ireland have wrought against some of the other teams and kicking it deep. Freddie Stewart's the sort of guy who'll be getting himself under those high balls as much as possible. Interesting to see. I don't actually know what the weather's going to be like for the weekend. If it's wet and slippery though, that'll be a big tester because I can ensure that the kicking game will become incredibly important in this one. But Henry Arundel, again, another one we've not really got to see a lot from this England team. I really thought he was going to have more game time against the Wales team, especially the way England were playing and some of the attacking players doing well. I thought he would have come on a lot sooner in that game. But overall, 1-15, it's still a good England team. They've just got to bounce back from that game against France. Not a great deal of stuff to take away from it, unfortunately, but they've got to bounce back against a good team, or otherwise Ireland will just take this one all day long. In terms of the replacements then, Jack Walker, Maka Vunipola and Dan Cole, the same replacements we've been saying throughout the tournament. Nick Ezekwe goes in the 19 shirt and Ben Curry in 20. Alex Mitchell, Marcus Smith and Joe Marchant coming into the team for those replacement backs. Nice to see Joe Marchant get in the side. Hopefully he does get a bit of game time. I think the substitutions is one of the more negative things I have to say towards this England team over the Six Nations. I don't think they've necessarily timed the substitutions well enough. A couple of these lads not really getting great big amounts of game time. They've been doing a lot of Marcus Smith or Owen Farrell taking on whenever they can get those opportunities. But like Alex Mitchell, he seems like he's going to be an absolute firecracker with the ball in hand. He's sniping runs. He does that sort of sideways lateral running. I think that could work so well. I want to see him get on sooner. Joe Marchant as well, though. Good coverage. Can play centre, can play wing as well. So there's some good coverage in that backfield. It's a good team. It's just going to be a big ask. I've already seen a lot of talking points around this game, and a couple of England subscribers already thinking, oh man, this could be a long one. So what do we think in terms of a score prediction? For me, this has to be Ireland's for the taking. They've also got all the pressure on them. I mean, England can afford to just throw the kitchen sink at this one, but Ireland are the ones up for the Triple Crown, the Six Nations, the Grand Slam, St. Paddy's weekend. Big pressure, but big game. But the team and the way it's been built, I can absolutely see it getting over that finish line. So for me, I'm going to predict an Ireland Grand Slam. I'm going for an Ireland win, and I'm going to say Ireland by 12. That's going to be my prediction, guys. But make sure you do drop down in the comment section your thoughts on the team and also your own score prediction, because it's nice to have a look through what other people think will happen in this game. Make sure you get your teams up on the Super Brew. And of course, on Monday, we will be going through those Super Brew results along with the world rankings and see who gets crowned as the new champions of the Super Brew League for the Mad Dragon channel. I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.